I don't know. He hasn't commented, so
he hasn't commented yet. He must be on vacation.
Must be.
Oh no. Okay, I was like, hello, there he is. No, it was Mike Weeper. Interesting.
Oh my goodness! Hey, welcome to another episode, or as we like to call another episode, of Ripping the Rack podcast. I'm your host Tim. With me today, I'm going to start up north. We're going to start up north with the so-called King of the North.
No. So-called? Hello.
I got to say so-called. I watched you bowl at the Mixed Worlds. It's got to be so-called.
Excuse you? I bowled phenomenal at the Mixed Worlds. The pins didn't think I did, though.
So you didn't bowl phenomenal?
No. The pins didn't think I bowled phenomenal. Okay. I did.
Fair enough. And let's go down south, way down south. I mean, so far down south.
Stop it. No, we're not doing this every time.
Mile and a half? What do you say, Brian? Mile and a half?
God.
It's not that.
Mr. Crusader Brian Athern. Brian, how you doing?
Doing great, Tim.
You are right,
Nico. A little hot out for me, but doing great. And the little bit of wrestling I will say is, if you did not like what happened with the Money in the Bank men's briefcase, you do not understand that there is long-term storytelling in wrestling before that stupid thing ever existed.
Yeah. And I enjoy because it's something different. You can't have it every year, have somebody win this briefcase and they run around. Ooh, I'm going to cash in. Ooh, I'm going to cash in. Ooh, I'm going to cash in. No, Drew McIntyre stood up Friday night. He said, I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to take it to the Money in the Bank. I'm going to cash it in and I'm going to be world champion. And now you have storytelling.
Real quick, have you ever watched when you have a count of people watching and you watch it dwindle every 2 seconds because you're talking about something that not a single person has an interest in? I'm just curious if you ever have seen that.
That's not true at all. Ryan Hogan,
I was actually responding to a comment that was made in our actual Ripping the Rack Facebook section.
I'm kidding.
Ryan Hogan is a wrestling fan, and Angela is a wrestling fan. I'm sure there are plenty. I know some people who message me, like Corey Smith, who's probably listening, is a wrestling fan.
Corey Smith was at Money in the Bank.
Corey Jones.
With Kevin.
Yeah, we won't. No, he wasn't with Kevin.
Kevin Gratton wasn't there?
No, it was Joel and Ryan. And we won't speak. Yeah. That'll be the last time we speak of those three tonight because I'm not happy with it. So
because they went and you didn't?
You're right, because they went after. Anyways.
I apologize because I thought I saw a comment that Kevin had gone with them.
No, it was just the three of them.
Oh.
Yeah. And Corey Jones, who's probably listening, he's a wrestling fan. So listen, we have lots of wrestling fans. So back to the story before Tim interrupted. I need to find the mute button for Tim. How do we, there needs to be a way we can mute him.
Why?
Anyways, yes. So I very much with you, Brian. I love the way they did it because, it did it. And even then, now you can put the focus on the women's Money in the Bank and not having two Money in the Banks going back and forth like, ooh, are you going to cash in? Now, Tiffy time is amazing, and I cannot wait for what she does. It's going to be incredible. And
the last thing I would say is the men's division right now did not need that briefcase in anything that was going on.
And that's the thing.
Somebody, it was going to end up like Austin Theories. Just get rid of it.
Right. And the six of them that are there, the only ones that made sense were Drew, Chad Gable, and LA Knight.
Yeah.
And LA Knight has his own thing with Logan Paul, which I was surprised they didn't come in and they didn't interfere. And then Chad Gable has his own thing with the Wyatt family. And Tim, you can't even do that because you enjoy wrestling. So shut up. You just don't watch it. So
I'm polling in a minute.
This is how we feel every time you continuously talk and don't shut up about pointless nonsense.
Like what? When do I ever like this right now?
At least once an episode. At least once an episode. And Angela, you're right. Drew keeps getting screwed, and I'm very excited for their match at SummerSlam because they are going to absolutely destroy each other.
It's from what I have heard, it is going to be CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in a last man standing Hell in a Cell,
which will be so
will take place about 30% in that cell.
Yeah, it'll like if they don't do possibly like a friggin' Mankind kind of move, I'll be shocked.
Yeah.
Because somebody's
Okay.
gonna get it's gonna be wicked.
Beautiful. If you like cinema storytelling. Okay, Tim,
And
we talked about.
no, we got one more. And I have possibly confirmed going to Mania. So watching John Cena's last Mania match.
There
Woo!
you go.
It's gonna be wicked.
Vegas is fun. You'll enjoy Vegas. It's a good time.
How's your toilet, Tim?
It's a poop down. High noon.
Did you have a bad poop this morning?
I think
I just
that
wanted
would be the
to put that
coolest
up there.
thing to have in a bar. Because then you find out really who don't care.
So anyway, Ripping the Rack podcast has turned into Ripping the Ring podcast.
I love it. Let's rip the ring.
It was 5 minutes, Tim. 5 minutes.
Actually, we're at 6 minutes.
You did the introductions at first and rambled for like 35 seconds of your own old manisms. So those.
Yeah, you're old man.
So I'm taking a poll.
Where?
Actually, hold on. This is highly
Yeah.
important.
I tell
We
you.
All right, hold on.
all would like to know
I'll
this.
talk to you, and I'll tell you right now because I talked to her at the Mixed Worlds, and I said, "Listen, honey, I really got to know what is it." And she says, "There hasn't been a day since I met him that I haven't laughed." And I'll tell you right now, laughter is the best medicine. And so that girl is head over heels for how funny looking Freshie is, and we all get it. So congratulations.
So congratulations
I
to
just figured
Sam
you
and
used the
Freshie.
same outreach program I used, and she's gonna get a nice check like my wife does every month to be married to me. And
So I do seriously want to congratulate Freshie and Sam.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. She's a sweetheart. I love Freshie. I know he's Freshie.
Yeah.
And I could
But
imagine.
he's our Freshie.
You know what?
Yeah.
No, look, Angie and I have been together going on 28 years, and we laugh a lot because I believe in laughter. I do.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Am I supposed to know who Joe Hendry is?
You will soon
You
enough.
will.
If you want to laugh because it's very funny, go on YouTube and YouTube Joe Hendry songs, and it's like 25 minutes of his songs. He's so good, and it's crazy.
He's as good as Cena was when Cena rapped.
Yeah, it's very good.
Never. Okay.
Anyways, congrats, Freshie.
Yes, congratulations, Freshie.
Sorry about your luck, Samantha, but congrats, Freshie.
Sometimes decisions are made that sometimes may not be the best,
right?
But you got to live with them.
Yeah, live and learn.
And love. You live, you laugh too.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing I do want to also bring up.
Laugh toaster bath.
Did you say lactose? What?
No, I said it beats live, laugh toaster bath.
Oh, good Lord.
What?
That went dark in a hurry.
Oh my
Holy
God.
smokes.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to take a bath around Brian anytime soon.
Well, I've done it. It's
whoa.
it's scary.
People do not need to know you guys bathe together.
I need to say that he did in the hotel room when we were in Halifax.
Oh no.
Oh, and I was sick as a dog. Oh
If
my
you
God.
want to see our viewers drop quickly, let's talk about Tim in the hotel room.
Oh no.
Tim's was sick.
I had the swine flu. It was not good. Poor Brian had to put up with me for that entire week. Good times. So as many know, you had the TikTok ladies were at the Mixed Worlds, and Carrie Ann had to leave. She had a pretty scary moment where she, and she posted on Facebook, and it was all over Candlepin Cat. So I feel safe talking about this. She thought she was having a stroke. She lost feeling in her whole one side. Come to find out, Bell's palsy. So on a positive note, it's it's going to clear up. We're happy for her that she's getting better, and hopefully she'll be back on the. They'll be back streaming soon, if they're not already.
Yeah.
So,
Speedy recovery,
She
girl.
is doing better.
yes.
Yeah.
Calvin, what's because I know it's summertime and there's all sorts of things going on up in Canada.
Yeah. It is a massive pile of shit up here.
No, that's down here after the debate.
It rains Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's 35 and sunny Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's really fucking annoying because the last 2 weekends I've been at the cottage, it has rained nonstop at least 2 of the days.
So are you going up this weekend?
No.
Okay, because it's going to rain.
I know. Yeah.
This weekend.
No, I'm fully aware.
Okay.
Fully aware. Yeah. It's supposed to be like it's on the weekends.
We're taking a poll.
Okay.
My wife is leaving me for a week. She's going
Good
on
for her. Congratulations, Angie.
She's going on a cruise with some friends and leaving me home alone.
Party at Tim's.
So
Can't remember his address. Hold on.
My question is, and the poll is, will the house get cleaned in time before she gets home?
Never a chance.
Yes, because you're going to bribe the boys and have them come over and help.
The last time she went, they never checked on me the entire week. You think they're going to do that?
No. See, I never said they would voluntarily come over and help you. You're going to have to bribe them.
They won't even, not even a bribe is going to bring them here.
You can buy Jordan with food.
Nope. No, he's already said I'm on my own. As he said, he goes, I'm going to have to deal with you when you're old and infirmed. He's like, I'm not doing it right now.
That is right now.
Yeah.
Kind of what I said. But anyway, yeah. So nothing's going on in Canada.
No.
Okay.
Not a thing. We don't do bowling in the summer. So, most of our bowling alleys are closed in the summer. So yeah, we don't do summer bowling.
So I will reiterate then the ladies. Let's see. Hold on.
By the way, we're 3 for 3 on the no for your poll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I've already. I even voted in the poll no.
Yeah.
So
It depends. If Tim is smart, he'll buy paper plates, plastic silverware, and just eat
Oh,
out
God,
all
you
the
think
time.
I'm
And then
gonna
there'll
do
be no dishes. And...
No.
Not a chance you do the dishes.
no. No.
He hasn't done it in, what, 28 years?
No, I did them a couple weeks ago.
Sure. Was it like a spoon and a fork that you did?
No, I typically do them most Thursday nights because Angie works. She has a part-time job on Thursday nights, so I'm home alone. So I typically will do my own dishes. Let's see. The 31st annual Ladies International Candlepin Bowling Tournament is coming up in less than a month.
Go, ladies. I'm already $500 richer because of it. So
that's right.
Yeah.
August 3rd and 4th. That is in Bangor Brewer at the bowling alley at Bangor Brewer. Captain's meeting, Bangor Brewer. Captain's meeting is at 8:30. It is a 9 a.m. start on August 3rd. I assume a 9 a.m. start on August 4th as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We do have $1,000 in added sponsorship toward the prize fund. Guaranteed $3,000 for first place based on 16 teams. I have no idea how many teams are because no one has sent me an updated list. So I'm assuming there are spots available or people looking for female bowlers. So contact Amy Doobie for further information. Her email address, which I don't know if I should give it out here, but it was on Candlepin chat. So it's amy1378@gmail.com. Amy, if you start getting porn spam, it is not on me.
It's 100% on him.
Not on me at all. And that Friday night, August 2nd, will be the ladies singles elimination. All entry fees go to the prize fund, courtesy of Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. 3-string qualifier, 1-string eliminations. Top half bowls move on each round until there's a winner. Again, that's Friday, August 2nd at 6:30 p.m., $50 entry fee. So contact Amy Doobie for that. What else we got? We got the dates. They were announced for the upcoming season of the Exeter Pro League, once a month Pro League. And they are taking official signups now. So contact Amy Doobie. You can find that information on Candlepin Chat. I know this because I'm looking at it on Candlepin Chat right this second. So that's that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not going to go searching. That's if you want me to mention it, you got to send it to us, folks. There's far too much that goes on. We really should have like just a tournament page. I think we've talked about that before, didn't we?
As long as Kevin isn't the one running it, we should be fine.
Yes.
Womp womp.
Did we talk about the divisional finals in the singles tour? I feel like we did, but
I don't think we talked. I think we talked about it, but we didn't. I don't think we were at the results stage when we talked about it.
Oh yeah, people won, people lost.
Yeah.
We won't mention who won.
Nah, we don't like him.
He
We
shall not be
believe in
mentioned.
Joe Hendry.
He wins. He wins
Yeah.
enough. And if we keep it up, he will not be able to get out the door because his head just keeps expanding.
I know. The good thing is there's always your peak stage, and we've.
Nico, is that John Daly's brother?
Yeah, John Daly's brother. He is.
I'd love to see John Daly Candlepin bowl. You know how cool that? I bet he'd be a cool dude to bowl
With a cigarette in his mouth and a beer in his left hand.
Oh yeah,
He'd be the only guy to ever do it with bowl with a beer in his left hand and.
What else? Again, folks, I hate to keep pounding on this. It's only been almost 4 years.
in July, there ain't a whole lot going on.
Well, I mean, I've only been hounding on it for about 4 years now. That if you want us to talk about your tournaments, you should probably tell us, because otherwise I'm gonna go searching. So, yeah, I don't know what. Oh, we got something coming up here. Candlepins for Cancer, third annual 220 doubles event. That is Saturday, September 7th at 10 a.m. Exeter Lanes. That is a 220 average team cap. That's $160 per team. As of right now, there were 8 teams signed up. They've got room for 16 more. 5-string qualifying round, followed by 1-string elimination playoffs, followed by 2-string final. Let's see. Nate Lees and Leslie Merrill will be on hand to run the event, while Greg and Paul Grant stream on the Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube. So register officially at candlepinsforcancer.com. Donations are available 24/7 by Venmo. So check that out. If you want more information, you can search it and find it on Facebook as well. And Nico, I know it's summer, and I know there's not a lot of tournaments going on, but you know what? There's a lot of tournaments coming up that people are searching for information. If you want us to talk about them, you kind of have to send it to us. Have I harped on that enough?
No.
Should I keep
I
harping
don't
on
know. You are in a get off my lawn style mood tonight, old man.
I really feel like we need a good grinding of the gears session here.
Is it about the little punks that live in our hometown? Because that, I can understand why you'd want them off your lawn.
Oh, they can all just. So for those of you that don't know, which is almost everybody on this podcast.
Well, I mean, it is like national news sometimes, the stupid things that these kids do.
We have some, how shall we say, some Utes in the area that, with no direction, seem to like to break into places and steal stuff and whatnot. And, they get arrested. They get caught. They get arrested. They get sent back to whence they live with a slap on the hand, because our judicial system here in the state of Maine sucks because, of various things. And the cops' hands are tied. I've talked to a lot of them that are just as frustrated as everyone else. They're tired of arresting them over and over again, only for them to basically get made fun of. The cops get made fun of for arresting them because they're just going to be back doing the same thing the next night. So they're going to break into the wrong place sometime soon. And bad things are going to happen. I hate to say it, but play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And Larry, say hi. Maybe you can cheer. Hi, buddy. Sorry. I was kind of on a little.
No, I mean, it just the stuff, it all stems from the lack of things to do for kids in the area. And I'm not saying these kids wouldn't want to do those things, but it's the thing. As we see in bowling, the youth numbers, at least in Maine, are very down. And we need to find ways to lift those up, or else this stuff will happen because bored kids do stupid things.
Thoughts, Calvin? Because you're kind of in the judicial system up there.
Oh, trust me, I see it way too much. It's getting to a point where it's actually quite silly, and people just get into bad situations and bad mindsets, and they think the only way they can do it is steal, and that's what happens. So, yeah.
All right, let's well, I don't know if I necessarily go that far, Angela.
The sad thing is we all kind of agreed for a second.
I mean, I agree with the first part. I don't know about the second part. To me, it's parenting. A lot of these kids have the types of parents that are like, hey, go out and do things because you're not at home where I can smoke my crack and do my drugs without you here. So anyway, let's move on. Let's talk bowling. Let's talk other things. Let's talk mixed. Let's finish up our conversation from 2 weeks ago. Calvin, you want to, okay, Larry, before you end the show, there you go. So mixed worlds, averages.
Yeah. Averages.
So
go ahead, ask your question.
I'm gonna pose this as a question, and the first part is, why are we having this discussion? And the second part is, what's the fix?
Why we're having this discussion is, and you know what, to be honest, I'm going to use this year as an example. And now, granted, you could have arguments for other guys. You could have arguments for other bowlers in the tournament that are probably an over or not. But the two teams that won, the first and second place are, I believe there may have been one more, but are the only ones that had an under not being under, if that is broad enough or direct enough to understand what I'm saying. So it's obviously proves an advantage or gives an advantage to teams where they're good bowlers. For example, let's just use it as Matt McPhee. Matt McPhee is in probably the worst or second worst house in Candlepin bowling for pinfall. We all know how good Matt McPhee is, and for a weekend tournament, he averaged 103. Matt McPhee has probably never averaged 103 in a tournament in his life. So for him to average 103, that's a tough house.
That's an extremely tough house.
Right. So if we use this league average, Matt McPhee could come in at an under every year and average 124 or whatever he did. Average 124 at Academy when there was 6 guys who averaged over 100 or 7 or under 120, or I think there was like 10 maybe. I can't remember. I added the number. Like there was a 10 or 15 guys who averaged over 120. So a lot of the argument is get rid of the rule altogether. I am perfectly understanding of that opinion because it is the worlds in a sense. You are talking mixed worlds, so the best bowlers should all, you should have the best bowlers come out. But if you look at the tournament as a whole, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago, there were 13 or 14 teams who had a chance to make the money going into the last string. If you don't have that parity and you don't have that separation of guys and you load up, and let's talk, you can revert back to worlds and look at it and say, listen, you go into worlds, when you look at a paper, you're going, okay, playoff team, playoff team, playoff team, playoff team, playoff team. Could make the playoffs if they're in a good division. Probably don't have a chance. Oh, this is an easy week. This is an easy match. We should be taking 8 off of this. Like when you go to mixed worlds, yeah, there might be 2 or 3 teams where you're going in like, okay, we're going to win this string. But again, we were going into that against Brian. They had won one string the whole tournament, and we lost that string. So anybody can beat anybody at mixed worlds because you don't have 5 or 6 teams who are completely stacked. You have everybody separated because you can only have 2 good bowlers, essentially 2 good bowlers on your team because you can only have 2 guys who are over 120. The rest have got to be your mid-tier to, 118 to 119. Like that's what you're going to aim for, is to get those kind of bowlers on there, which are guys who could go real good but could go real bad if they're struggling. Whereas your 120s are going to probably average 120 because that's just what it is. They're the 120s who are averaging 120 all the time. So they're going to give you 120 every string, which if you look at this past or the 2 weeks ago, 120 was huge because there was a lot of 113s and 112s and 111s and 90s and 80s. Like I think we had 5 or 6 matches where a lot of our 100 and some average bowlers had 87 because the pinfall was so crazy. But you have your 18 to 20 guys or whatever that still averaged 120 for the weekend. So to have those all on the same team, that's a massive advantage. You can't beat that, which is exactly what happened. We had one team who almost went undefeated for the entire weekend, and they're under. And even if they had, oh my God, look at Bobby Witt. Imagine if that team had Bobby Witt for the weekend too, a healthy Bobby Witt as an under. You could, Craig Holbrook would be sitting on the bench and you'd still get a 630 thrown against you. And that's exactly what happened to us against Matt Harnett and them. Jeff Surratt, their high average on the team, averaging 127 or whatever he was averaging for up to that point because he was just cruising along, was on their bench and they threw a 630 at us. How do you beat that? Unless you have 3 guys over 100 and some average, and then you have 2 other girls or whatever going. Like that, there's a reason why they have that rule in place, was because you could have parity, you could have 24 teams, and you could, because if you look, because I think somebody posted, because Nate is trying to get the trophy all lined up because they got a trophy now. So there's a trophy handed out to the winners, and they're trying to get all the rosters. Well, somebody sent in the, whatever the results for the last like 10 to 15 years. It was only like 7 or 8 years ago when they put in the rule that we were at 24 teams. There was one year I looked at that had like 14 teams.
So as far as I know, the rule goes way back. It was that way in 2008 when I bowled, that you had to have one person, you had to have in the lineup at all times was a bowler under 120. a male bowler under 120, and you could only have 2 over 120s on the team.
Right.
So, and yes, Angela, you are correct. The females make that tournament.
But
It's been
again,
stated time and time again.
but again, I'll even sort of argue that if I have Jeff Surratt, Matt Hurnett, and Matt McPhee all throwing 130 to 150, your women don't need to average more than 98. You know what I mean? So yes, I agree to that. In the aspect of everything is fair, those two guys are 120. You have an under. Yes, your women are massive because you need those in the either the 1-2 spot or the 2-3 spot. But when you have 3 guys going 130, I think Matt McPhee went 159. Eric Peltier, I think, went like 129 or 130, and Matt Harnett had 146. That's 400 right there. Your girls need to have like 290s, and you're at 580. You're not going to.
290 would be pretty good. That's a 145 each.
290s.
Well,
290s.
I was confused.
Yes, 290s. 290 strings. Is that better?
Would the way to resolve this be like as they're doing now with like the Candlepin Bowlers Association, where they are Candlepin Bowlers Association sponsored events, where if you bowl in these, you will set your Candlepin Bowlers Association tournament average. If you bowl in a tournament that is under that flag, which I would assume the men's worlds would be, the mixed worlds, things of that nature, you would have an average if you bowl a certain number of strings in those sponsored tournaments or those associated tournaments.
Okay, then I would have to say you would have to take out league bowling because they encompass everything. Friday night leagues, they encompass like the ACST. I would say if we're going to use that average, which I'll be with you, let's do all your big. So let's say there's like 8 tournaments. Let's do it like you would in golf or whatever. Let's do it like there's 8 majors. So like worlds.
We have major events.
Worlds, right. Mixed worlds and like something that everybody's going to, the 20 stringer, the women's
I would
world,
say the 560. The Fairlanes 560 is one because there's a lot of people that bowl in that do bowl in the mixed
right.
world.
That's what I mean. Like I'm going down the list. Like the 560 would be a big one, right? Like, so do you do that? Because if you're going to do everything, encompass everything, again, I'll go to the point. Matt McPhee goes and bowls a tournament. Let's say he goes to bowls a tournament at that house. He bowls a 2-day tournament. It's like 18 or 20 strings, and he averages 103. So those 20 strings going in at 103 average could take his maybe 121 tournament average down to 117, right? Like, you know what I mean? So you got to, I think the only solution, and I've said this for years now, is that you need to use the mixed worlds average. And that's what you base it on. And then just like the 560, you have an average established a year in advance, and you can base your team off that. Because that also takes up something that I brought up to Nate, is that the cutoff date of April 15th is so close that because it happened to me this year, I went over on like April 10th. So my cutoff date was April 15th, but I was an under as of like April 10th. So if I had my team all established, and especially going down to the States, it's friggin' expensive. Not everybody can take a week or 2 weeks or 2 or 3 days off like 2 months in advance. They need to know like a year in advance. So having this established average that you can look at a year in advance, I think is the only option because it encompasses everything and you don't need to worry about picking your team. You can figure it out.
So I've got 2 things to say. One is I just had someone snap me.
Okay.
And it's a picture of us on the screen. So they are listening live.
Uh-huh.
And they said, how do you beat that? And they responded, it's a scratch tournament. Bowl better. Which.
Sure, Jeff. Whatever you say, Jeff.
No, I can tell you it was not Jeff. Because I would call Jeff out for that.
Yeah.
The second part I'm going to say is I am a proponent, and have been for a while, and I brought this up 5 years ago. Why don't we have a mixed worlds average? Everybody that's bowled in it,
Right.
results for how many years? There is no reason not to have it. Now, the second part of that is we bowled in some fairly rough houses over the last couple of years.
Right.
You're going to have more unders now than you would have overs if you look at averaging over 120. So is it time to remove that number below 120 down to 118, you know what I mean? Do you take, if you have that tournament average, so if you've established it, and I don't know if you go 20 strings, 30 strings, 40 strings, whatever you want it at, okay? Do you then say, okay, we have 24 teams, so that's 48 bowlers, that could be over X amount.
Mm-hmm.
And that's your line. Maybe your line is
so it's a curved per pool bowlers, or the averages of that.
Yeah. So like
and
top 48, you could do
and
that.
I'm not trying to make this overly complicated or difficult. I'm trying to make it.
No, it's actually pretty simple when you think about it.
Because it is a scratch tournament. It is a single string scratch tournament, and in any
with
string
parameters, though.
Anybody.
That's the thing. It's not truly scratch. There are parameters set. Yes, it's a scratch match, but there are parameters to build a team to compete in this.
Right. So I am a proponent of it. I do believe that there should be a tournament average. There is no reason not to have a tournament average. And that tournament average can follow to any house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you know what, Tim? I'll respond to that snap. No, technically it is not a scratch tournament because there's a handicap. So shove it up your butt. And that handicap should be properly enforced. Because, listen, we all know that Matt McPhee is not an under bowler. We all know that who's the other one there? Dave Barber is not an under bowler, as he's shown countless years of averaging 125 at Worlds, and how he averaged. What did he average a couple weeks ago? Somebody posted the average. I think he averaged like 123 or something like that. Dave Barber.
Dave Barber. I don't know.
I think he was 120 something. So, anyways, that's all I'll say. Snap person. Yeah, it's not a scratch tournament. It's actually a handicapped tournament, but with all the best bowlers in it. So
the response that I just got, Calvin, was to bite unnamed me.
Bite unnamed me. Okay.
Meaning it's a scratch tournament where they don't give or get pins, which is true. That portion is definitely the scratch portion.
Right.
It is handicapped in the fact that you have to have, number one, you have to have 2 women and 3 men. It is handicapped in the fact that you have to have an under 120 for a male bowler. So it's a handicap scratch tournament. It's kind of bizarre that way.
That's a scratch tournament with parameters.
And PC was definitely not fudging numbers. So I actually am very much friends with all of them, and they do not do that. Period. In the story.
No. And hey, I'm pretty sure Harnett and Surratt were both overs anyways.
Right.
So they're not fudging numbers. The only thing is that Matt McPhee bowls out of a tough house. Simple as that.
That's not fudging numbers at all. That's being smart and picking someone up who they know is a really good bowler.
Right.
So it was like me being an under the year that I bowled. I bowled 2019 with Evan. I was an under, but I bowled in a tough house, and I was a 118 or a 119 average. And I think the highest league average that anyone had that house was Jason Kaler at a 120 that year.
That was brutal. That was a tough year.
It was a tough year. So they got smart. They took me as an under, knowing that it was at Bangor where I bowl well. And guess what? I was third in average at 129 or something like that. So that's not fudging numbers. That's just being smart.
Yeah.
So what did Nate say when you talked about that?
Nothing really, just that we should use the Candlepin Bowling Association averages. But then again, you would need everything from Canada. Like somebody would have to they'd have to contact somebody like me or Ryan Hogan. I know he likes to work stats and do stats like that. So they'd have to contact him. Like somebody would have to be from Canada giving you those stats as well. Because I talked to Dave at the Mixed Worlds, Dave Barber, who was basically the one who got everything, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't have anything from Canada." Well, I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't remember anybody contacting me, or like, as a lot of people think I'm the Canadian representative because I do this, and I'm I'm the one you should get a hold of because everybody contacts me. I don't know everything, but I do know people who can contact people who can contact people, and you can get all the stats you want." But nobody contacted anybody in Canada. So to do that, I still think is not the appropriate one to use. I think everybody should use their Mixed Worlds tournament average. And if you want, yes, Tim, you know what? I like your idea. I like basing it off of 24 teams. You can only have 2 overs. So you have out of the top 48 from your Mixed Worlds average, those are the bowlers you can use. And if you can't fit those into your team, then you have to pick from everybody else. And that's perfectly reasonable. You don't have to have an under 120, but you have it under whatever 48th was at the Mixed Worlds this year. So if that's 118, you can go pick up a bowler under 118.
And this has been my only complaint, and I don't have a fix for it, is back in the day when you had a lot more bowlers that were over a 120, you had people that couldn't bowl in what's arguably one of these quote unquote majors of the sport. Okay. So that was the only problem I had with that kind of rule. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Other than there's no reason why we can't have. Sorry, I'm hearing a noise in this.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too. I don't know. I thought it was just something I thought it was crickets in your speakers.
No,
Is your computer about to blow up?
I don't know.
That's all right. You'll be fine.
Okay, whatever. And unnamed me said you play to win the game, which is true. You do. So
100%. I'm not saying anything bad towards them.
No,
I'm just saying you need to fix that system because you can have people who do that. And not that I'm saying it's not possible, but Matt McPhee's not going to come bowl with me. So now I'm at a disadvantage that I don't get the hard house bowlers, right? Matt McPhee's always going to bowl with Matt Harnett. I don't get that advantage. If I ask him, he'd say, "No, I'm bowling with Matt." Like, you know what I mean? So now I have to go try to find myself a Matt McPhee and somewhere else that's bowling in a hard house. So, I'm not saying I don't care. If you do it, you do it. It's just the way it is. I'm just saying that it needs to be, if you're going to have this rule, it needs to be an even playing field for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. I know what you're saying. I do. Yeah. I just don't know what the fix is other than, and I hate committees, but on something like this, you need more than 1 or 2 people kind of doing this.
Right. Well, technically that's what the captains group on Facebook is about, to have these, and like your captains are your committee, but nobody ever wants to talk about it and nobody ever wants to fix it. Every year we bring it up. So it just seems to be like a mindless thing that nobody wants to deal with. And I'm like, okay, well, it's this discussion every year. It needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, it does. And it should be dealt with because it's a great tournament. And I think everyone wants to see it succeed. And the more parity you can have, the more excitement you're going to get from a lot of different people. I've been on both sides. I've been on the team that's almost gone undefeated, and they had it won with a couple of strings to go. And did we really care those last 2 strings? No. And I've also been on the other end where, we didn't have a prayer in hell, so we played spoiler. That's all.
Yeah, which is also fun.
Yep. I had a question that was asked, and I'm going to start with Brian.
Okay.
If we were to mic you up, what would people hear?
Me calling myself a dumbass a lot. Well, see, I have a lot of internal monologue, not a lot of stuff I say outside. I've gotten better about cussing. I don't cuss as much as I used to. But yeah, me calling myself a dumbass a lot. Or saying, oh, that's a good ball. Good ball there, champ. Nice job.
Yep. Calvin?
But if it was my internal monologue, it would be Bluey songs in my head constantly.
Calvin?
A wise man once told me to sing while I was up there.
A wise man did tell you that.
This one? Me?
No, actually Tim did, but
because that's what I do when I'm up there. I sing to myself, so people would hear me singing. Because I always sing to myself, and whatever, and depends on how long and where I was mic'd up. Because if I'm for a long period of time, you're probably going to hear a whole bunch of stuff. If I'm just up on the lanes, you're probably going to hear me singing and talking to myself and telling myself how stupid I am. And yes, Nico, I have been mic'd up before. It was the very early stages of their mic'd up adventures, and it was pretty fun. I wish they would have mic'd me up when I bowled Josh Daly for $10 because that was a lot of fun. So depends on how long I was mic'd up for.
So they asked me as well, and they said, if you were in my prime, and when I was in my prime, what would they hear?
You had a prime?
Yeah, it was like a year or two. And honestly, I don't know what they would hear because I was pretty focused when I bowled. I could probably tell you, and Brian, you could probably answer this as well, as you would probably hear, like Brian, I would, a lot of cursing, mostly to myself.
You hear a lot of GD it, Tim.
A lot of what?
God damn it, Tim.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It depends on who I was bowling as well, because
you're not chatty though. You're not a chatty bowler up there, or you never were. You weren't back in the day.
If I was bowling someone that I knew and that I was friends with, and it was league, then I was probably giving them shit while I make shots in their face.
Can confirm that happened.
It'd be like, oh, did you just see all those pins fall? Did you just see that? Oh, I'll wait for you to get done. Just stupid little things like that. But yeah, there'd be a lot of I'd sing. I wouldn't talk to myself a lot as far as like how to play shots. So if someone was wondering if I was going to talk to myself about how to play shots, that's inside my head. I rarely verbalize that. But if I was bowling, like Josh Daly, when I threw a 160 something at him in the mixed worlds and he hated me afterwards, I don't know as if I talked a lot to him on that. Josh, do you remember that? I know you remember it because you said you hated me. But I don't think I talked to him on that. I think I just threw marks and waited for him to catch up. That's all.
I mean, all you have to do is ask if he's got a 200, and he'll shut right up. So it's great.
Sorry, Josh Daly, do you have a 200?
See, crickets. You
Crickets.
never heard from him again.
Calvin, you got a 200?
Oh man, I got 2.
Okay. Brian,
I got 1 in the last 20 or in the last 12 months.
you're right. You do. Brian, I'm going to take that. Does that mean you have 1?
No, Tim, I do not.
No, Tim, it means
If I
you're
had done
number
anything,
1.
as Charlie Mylan told me after my 188 game, if I had done anything in the first 4 boxes, I'd have had a 200.
Oh, Charlie.
My new high single, I threw a 4-bagger in the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. I walk off, and Charlie goes, "You done anything in the first 4, you'd have had 200." And just walked off. No,
Well,
nice string, nothing. Nope.
Brian, I've never had a 4-bagger before, so
Brian, do you want to
three.
do you want to borrow one of mine?
or
What,
one
your
of mine.
200s?
Yeah, one of my 200s.
You want to borrow one of my 4-baggers?
Why? I got a couple.
Oh. It's really the only thing I can say is I have 3 of those.
I think I have like 2. I don't throw a lot. I have like 2 or 3. That's it.
I did 2 of them in the 9th and 10th. That's what sucks about 2 of them.
How about 7 in a row? Does it count if it's over 2 strings? I finished with a 4-bagger and started with a triple.
Oh,
You
you're
were
talking
throwing the
strings.
most
I thought you were
consecutive
talking
marks I've seen in a league. You threw like 18 in a row that night in Bangor you subbed.
Oh, the marks. Yeah, that was a fun night.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't real happy with me. The other team.
That's the most I've ever seen in a row was 18.
I think I had like 16 in my 514.
I was going to say, I saw those scores,
Yeah.
Calvin, and it looked like you had a.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of marks
How many-
in a row.
You guys have thrown 200. How many 200 games have you guys like witnessed or like been a part in the match? If you've seen it in a match.
200. I witnessed Adam Melanson's. I think I was next door to it at the 560.
I've kept score for 2 Morrisons.
So bowling next to them. I witnessed Val Joyce. I was bowling next to her when she threw her 200 in Pittsfield. Matter of fact, it was just her and I. We were finishing. It was a pro tour. I think it was a pro tour. And I can remember she threw a spare in the 10th, and she needed the strike for 200. And she kind of, I remember she looked over at me, and I just looked at her and said, "Val, just throw the ball. Just throw the strike." And she just kind of shook her head and got up and threw the strike. It was one of the coolest moments I've ever seen from a bowler, just watching her do that.
That's pretty cool.
It was pretty neat. I can't recall off the top of my head if I've never kept score for one.
No, I've never either.
And I don't think I've ever had anyone on my team, like a teammate,
Nope,
throw one.
either. Yeah.
So you guys have thrown all of yours singularly then.
Yeah, mine have all been singles. I have never done it in a team for my 200.
Mine was the first one I did was the Pro-Am in Ellsworth. So it was the main Pro Tour event, which is a doubles event. And then I threw one in league. And then I threw 3 in league and 2 in state event. One in the Pro Tour, 1 in a state.
Funny enough, my 199, my 2 and my 200s are all 3 the second string of singles competition. Both of them, my first 200 and the 199 were both provincial singles, and this one was the world singles, and all 3 of them on the second string of the 5 strings. That is really weird.
That's cool. That's actually
three out of my 5 were the second.
Yeah.
The first one was a 10-string event. It was my second string. My league was the second string. The next one I had was the second string. Must be something about a second string.
Must be, yeah. Kevin got my first one. Yeah, Kevin kept score for my first one.
So the last question that I have actually was a follow-up to a conversation we had a couple of months ago, and I finally getting around to the questions.
We're just about out of time. All right, good week,
All right,
Brian.
We'll see you later.
So they wanted to know, like, after you throw a big string, how do you follow that up? Like, what's in your head to ensure that you don't, I'm going to use the word shit your pants in the next string. Because I've done it both. I've had good string. I've had back-to-back good strings.
It's easy to say, but on to the next one. Like, it's easy to say that, but that's the mentality you kind of got to have. Like, just on to the next one, or if you're a superstitious person, don't change too much up. But, yeah.
Mine was just don't fuck it up. but also, and for the, I guess, the relaxation of it is mine, again, we're always in singles competitions. So in retrospect, I didn't need to worry about the next three strings because, hey, I could probably have 3 110s and still have gotten in with like a 630 or a 629 or something like that. So I don't have much worry. And so that may have been why I was still, you don't have that big game, bad game syndrome. Because I think I started out my next string with 3 out of 4 marks and ended up with like 137 this past year. I think that was my third string. So it was just all right, I'm into the playoffs. This is just coast there and see if I can
find a groove.
Speed.
Yeah, just find a groove.
Yeah. So it was, I don't know if that's the mindset that helps, but.
So I don't remember my next string. I'd have to look at my scores. I really don't remember after my first 200 what my next string was. I think because I was just on such a high that I had just done it.
Yeah.
I can tell you the next time. So my next 200 was like a month later. And it was the last night of league at Oxford Hills. And I had gone 142 my first string, and then I threw a 215. And I remember I threw 3 marks in the first half of the third string, and I kind of looked and went, wait, I've got a chance at 500. So I kind of started focusing more, and I threw a 145 in my last string. So it was one of those things where I knew I had a chance to do something. I couldn't imagine watching Cox throw his back-to-back 190s. I mean, I couldn't. I watched
that would not only hurt me, but that would also hurt my soul. Like your back-to-back non-200s and they're back-to-back 190.
Oh, that would hurt. I'll admit that would.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going 199, 199?
Oh. No.
Could you imagine like Josh Daly throwing a 199 and being 1 pin away?
Yeah, on a double strike in the 10th and couldn't get the triple. What a bum.
I mean, I have a couple of 199s, and one of them just hurts me to my soul.
Yeah.
To a spare, needed 3 for 200, took out the 1.5 for 2 for 199.
Yeah, my 199 was a strike in the 10th and just missed the head pin, left the 4 horsemen, and went the inside of the head pin and took out the 2-4 alone.
Oh.
And left the 1-7. Left the 1-7 for an 8 box and a 199.
Oh.
Yeah, needed 3 of them. Went the inside of the head pin and cut those 2 off. Yeah, it was fun.
So I would say the biggest thing after a big string is someone had mentioned it. Mark mentioned it. Just try to hit the head pin again, and ultimately, that's what I try to do on every ball that I throw. Is just try to hit the object pin. That's what I've always done. I don't try for big scores. If I hit the object pin and I hit where I'm supposed to, then the score is going to be there. Conceivably, in my head,
ball to ball.
Huh?
It's ball to ball for me, really. It's okay. Object pin on this, obviously. Head pin, full rack. Okay, what's my object pin? Well, if it's a strike, it's the button. Cool. But what's my object pin on the spare? That's what I've always tried to like, just hit the object, like Tim said. Tell I bowled with Tim a lot.
I don't know. I mean, big strings are fun and all, but if you're hitting your object pin or you're hitting where you're aiming for, the majority of the time, then your scores are going to be there. There's really no other way around it, unless
you're Calvin and Augusta.
Unless you're Calvin and Augusta.
Calvin anywhere, you mean?
Not Moncton.
Listen, it's still rough in Moncton.
I don't know. Moncton's closed, isn't it, right now?
No, Moncton's open. I'm surprised. They usually do close. They closed last year. I don't know if maybe that was they realized, like, oh, probably shouldn't close during the summer because then Dieppe gets all of our business. But
that's what I was just going to say. I was up there 2 years ago and we went over to bowl because Little Man wanted to bowl and it was raining and they were closed. And we went over to Dieppe and had to wait.
Yeah, because Dieppe got a lot of business last summer because Fairlane's closed, and it was just like, yeah, there was. I think I went in there one day to practice. I think it was before Mixed Worlds or before Can-Ams, and she goes, "Yeah, no, we're booked for like the next 3 days, so sorry, there's nowhere to practice." Like, oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, and I do want to mention, we got to also congratulate Cole Fry. Cole and Courtney got married.
Yeah.
Yay, Cole.
Calvin, unfortunately,
yeah, I couldn't be there.
It was a good time.
I drank your champagne toast, so thank you.
Did you? Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I did.
Congratulations, Cole and Courtney.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Sam and Freshie.
Too many people getting married.
I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with it. I don't know if my wife is, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, too many weddings.
So anyway,
yeah,
let's call it a night.
Sure.
Oh wait, this last unknown person, unnamed me, says the men's world does not have parameters, and you can have as many high average bowlers on one team as you want. The ladies international does not have parameters, so why does the mixed worlds have to have it?
Again, I'm with you. However, like I said, if we look at worlds, and I'll say this as we look at ladies' worlds, you have 3 teams maybe in ladies' worlds, maybe 4 that you could go, those teams have a chance to win. You have 7 teams, 8 teams maybe out of the 24 in men's worlds where you're like, those teams are going to win. And then you have a whole bunch of, these are playoff teams and they have a chance.
If they get a division draw.
Right. And they have a chance at playoffs if they have a good division. So yes, I'm with you.
Tim, are you asleep?
No.
No,
your eyes were closed.
He's just
I was looking down at my phone to see if I had a response.
Yeah. So yes, I'm with you 100%. If you want to get rid of it, get rid of it. I don't care. But I'm going to say you're going to see a decline in the parity of the tournament because everybody's going to be bowling on 5 or 6 good teams. Because just like worlds and mixed worlds, you need to find a way to beat those other teams, or you're just going there to try to get second or third or fourth. And nobody wants to go there to try to get second or third or fourth. So you want to load up to beat those teams. So again, I'm fine if you want to get rid of it. This is not me arguing the point. This is me arguing if you're going to have it and you want to keep parity for the tournament and have everybody has a chance at money, you need to have it set at a certain way.
I would agree with that. Like I said, there's no reason why you can't follow the Moncton 560 format, meaning not the bowling format, but the format of they have kept averages. Now, there's a little bit different. They look at the Fairlanes average.
Right.
So any tournament that bowls at Fairlanes.
Right.
You can't really do that because the mixed worlds will jump from house to house. So,
right. But everybody's bowling in the same house, so you're still getting the same averages.
Correct.
Right.
So I'm good with it. I think it should be done. I think that they should do, like you said, or like I said, the top 48, and there's your cutoff.
Yeah.
Here's your 48 bowlers or whatever. Maybe it's not 48. Maybe you set it at
your top 30 or whatever
it is.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever that's agreed upon by all the captains.
Yeah.
So to speak. And then that's who you draw from. And if you don't have a mixed worlds average, like for me, because I haven't bowled for a couple of years, so I wouldn't have a mixed worlds average, then you take your highest known league average. Or if you're someone like me that hasn't bowled in a year, and maybe I'm coming back, and like, for example, if they can fix my back, I'll give bowling a try. So if that's the case, then maybe I have to be an over because I don't have an average.
Right. And no, Nico, I wouldn't want to keep it at the same spot because then you don't have other houses who have the possibility of running it. Give them the chance, and that gives them a lot of business for the weekend.
That's the joy of the mixed worlds and the worlds, as it goes from house to house.
Well, yes and no.
It
in
does.
Canada, yeah. In Canada, it doesn't. It's stuck in one spot because they won't go anywhere else.
Well, that's on the Canadian side. Yeah. On the American side, there are a few houses that it can go to.
Exactly.
So I would love to see the mixed worlds go to Canada.
I would too.
I don't know if Moncton would take it. I don't know if Fredericton would take it. But those are the only two houses that can have it.
Well, there's another one, but you don't want to go there.
Oh, that's what, Lower Sackville or something like that? Bible
Hill.
Okay.
Oh, and there's another one. Yeah, I think there's another one, but again, nobody wants to go there, so it's.
So I'm all for it. I think there should be. It's easy enough to do. It's easy enough to track. It's a simple spreadsheet that anyone can have.
Yeah, and again, then you can set your team up a year in advance, and you don't have to worry about. You get if the tournament's over and we get the averages out like November, and now you have from November all the way till June to set your team up. You look at the averages. Okay, where are the two overs? Perfect. Now let's get our team all set up.
Yep.
And then you take away all the cap. You take away everybody getting their averages in. Everybody already knows their average before going into it. You save yourself a massive headache.
Yep, I agree, and I hope it gets to that point, or I hope it gets to the point where barbers and their bowlers website becomes large enough and big enough where it's recognized as the holding of all the averages
as your average. Yeah,
that would be phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna end it here for the night, and I just completely forgot what I was saying. Folks, you can find us. Send your questions, comments, concerns. Send anything you want to rippingtherackpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. Brian, if you would, do your thing.
Absolutely. The views and expressions of Ripping the Rack podcast this week are of Tim, Calvin, and Brian, and they who shall not be named on Snapchat. If you enjoyed what we heard, please give us a like and a follow. We can find us on Anchor, Breaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube especially. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much, guys.
Folks, we appreciate it. Have a great couple of weeks. As far as I know, we'll be on in a couple of weeks. We'll see.
Peace.